Due to the rank partisanship that's come up in your agency, the fact that you all are ignoring congressional requests for information and the wastefulness that we've seen, I know that the Appropriations Committee is marking up your budget as we speak, and they are seeking a 25% reduction in funding for the FTC today. Actually, the Appropriations Committee is going to be passing that government funding bill. So actions have consequences, Madam Chair, and you're about to see what consequences your actions have had.
What's up, gamers? I hope you guys are all having a great day today, just full of so much positivity and happiness, dude. Because in all honesty right now, man, I'm feeling pretty positive, kind of like my investment account at the moment, after the news that the FTC lost the court case against Microsoft and Activision, and it's pretty much all but confirmed at this point that the merger is in fact going ahead. They just got to settle a few extra little things in the UK, but for all intents and purposes, man, Microsoft will be acquiring Activision Blizzard for $95 a share, which if you bought Activision stock back at the peak of the sexual assault allegation, controversy,
now that we realize what you're putting into them is blood money, Activision Blizzard is screwing over actual people. Real women are having their lives ruined by crappy managers who aren't even... I'm so mad right now. I'm so mad because I feel like in some way I tacitly... my money went to this. This stupid t-shirt that I bought is fucking part of this... excuse my cussing. This t-shirt also goes... this money also goes to a company that just doesn't care about women.
Their share price actually dipped down to $55 per share. So if you happen to be in the stream where I talked about that and took my not financial advice where I said that I would personally be purchasing a lot of Activision Blizzard shares at $55 a piece, then you probably made out pretty well and you're probably feeling pretty wealthy right now. But it has been a long and arduous process to get to this point, and in all honesty, bro, it really shouldn't have been, because I really am against the government stepping in and saying oh, hey, Activision shareholders, you all voted to sell your company for X number of dollars. Well, tough shit, we don't want you making money. And personally, I am 100% against that sentiment. I don't think any government should give a fuck about video games, in all honesty, because what we're talking about is an industry of zero consequence. Nobody's life is being changed by whether or not they can play a video game in Xbox Gamepass or not. And if you're one of the people who are out there actually claiming that this does have a significant impact on your life, then I think a life is exactly what you're fucking missing at this point. But in all honesty, man, I'm just glad this shit's over with, not just because I'm getting paid, because in all honesty, this should have never been as big of a process as it actually was. But whenever there's a massive sticker price of $69 billion attached to any acquisition, every single regulator is gonna act like they actually give a fuck, and they're gonna pretend like they have the consumer's best interest in mind, when in reality it's all political bullshit. But speaking of regulators, I think the funniest thing to come out of this entire situation is just the FTC's piss poor performance, in my opinion. And Lena Khan, the chair of the FTC, came out of this shit looking like the biggest PlayStation fangirl I think I have ever seen in my entire life, because the FTC's entire case literally just came down to, we want to protect Sony, and Sony would be hurt by this merger. Now keep in mind, she's the head of the Federal Trade Commission, which is supposed to protect United States consumers. She was more concerned over a Japanese company maintaining their market dominance in the United States than promoting two American companies merging and competing with two Japanese companies that dominate the console market. It's absolutely fucking incredible. But she got grilled by Congress, and I just want to bring up a few little highlights.
And yet you decided that a company with a market cap of about 10%, that of Pfizer, somehow would be anti-competitive if it assimilated a new, took on something that would be new, that it had helped internally produce before spinning it off. You're failing in that, you're going to fail. You then took on Microsoft. Microsoft's a big company. Everybody up here seems to want to beat on anyone that has over $1 trillion market cap. And when you served on the committee, you were big on, if you were over $1 trillion, we need to break you up or stop you. However, that merger that you lost the other day is one in which a protected market that Sony enjoys in Japan, a company that is already larger, needs competition. The reality is we are a global market, and you are thinking only of who you want to go after for some reason. And I cannot find your logic, and I believe that it begins at the top. When you blamed your staff and said staff decisions, shame on you. The fact is you run this organization, and its left turn came when you took over, not with the staff that many of whom would have already been there. And this is my question to you. If cancer patients die because you had blocked the merger, which you didn't because they went forward over your objections and will continue to fight you, if cancer patients die because they don't have the money to bring this technology forward, where is the consumer benefited? And I know that you're going to say, Illumina is currently pending, we're still working on it, I can't answer. It's interesting, you can answer yes or no to the Democrats, but you can never answer simply to us. But I'll give you a chance. If something is not on the market and an organization of two companies say we want to merge to bring something to the market, where does the FTC see anti-competitiveness? Briefly, if you can answer.
So before I answer, I should just note, if anybody asks me on either side about an ongoing...
No, please answer my question. My time is limited.
I will not be able to answer about ongoing adjudicative
Okay,
proceedings.
let's go back through this. Your opinion, the opinion whether you inherited it or not that you seem to bear, is that in the future there could be a failure to have competition in a market that has not yet occurred. If people have to meet a standard of your hypothetical market will not develop because we have to predict the future. If your ability to predict the future is so good, how is it you could not predict that you were going to lose 4 out of 4 cases? How is it you can predict the future of markets when in fact the stock market can't even do it? I would contend that you have overstepped your boundaries and your $500 million budget is being wasted. And I, for one, will not support your $160 million increase.
And they are seeking a 25% reduction in funding for the FTC today. Actually, the Appropriations Committee is going to be passing that government funding bill. So actions have consequences, Madam Chair, and you're about to see what consequences your actions have had.
So not only did she get absolutely shredded in this session of the Judiciary Committee, but, the FTC actually ended up losing 25% of their funding as a result of her piss-poor performance at the helm of the Federal Trade Commission. So not only are PlayStation fanboys looking like complete ass-blasted losers taking L's left and right, but Lena Khan and the FTC are coming out of this with a 25% reduction to their annual budget for this exact case. Like, you really can't make this shit up, and it's absolutely incredible to see. Me, a year ago, would have never expected it to excel to this point, bro. But that brings us to the next point here. Our boy, lion-crying Jim Ryan, probably took one of the biggest corporate L's I think I've seen in the gaming industry, and in all honesty, man, I would not be surprised if he lost his job over this in a few months, because this was the biggest fumble I think I've ever seen in quite some time. Because right after the FTC's ruling came out and basically the appeal was denied, and it was basically all but confirmed that Microsoft would be moving ahead in purchasing Activision Blizzard, lion-crying Jim Ryan finally chose to come to the table and sign the 10-year deal for Call of Duty on PlayStation that had been offered to him since the very beginning. And this shit's really great too, because I think this is a great deal for both Sony and Microsoft and Xbox and PlayStation players, because, Microsoft on one hand needs the PlayStation in order to maintain Call of Duty's market dominance, also to capitalize on all the revenue that Call of Duty brings in from PlayStation consumers. Not to mention, PlayStation needs Call of Duty on their platform to maintain their position of dominance in the console market, because a large number of people do primarily just buy a PlayStation to play Call of Duty. So it's kind of like a symbiotic relationship. Microsoft needs Sony, and Sony needs Microsoft in this situation, and I think it works out perfectly. I am never in favor of people having a game's ability to be played stripped from them. If I had my way, bro, every single game would be on every single platform. I know it's not realistic, but in an ideal world where we can all, circle jerk each other and sing Kumbaya regardless of what console or platform we play on, I wish every game was available on every single platform. So overall, I think this is a really positive thing, but I think what makes this such a monumental failure for Jim Ryan is he really overplayed his hand, dude, at every single opportunity. Like, this guy was out here crying in front of regulators, acting like Sony's entire business would collapse if Microsoft somehow managed to buy Call of Duty. They would steal the secrets of the PlayStation 6. They would completely destroy their position in the console market. Like, this dude was the boy who cried wolf times 100, man. Like, this guy was on some wild shit consistently ever since this deal was announced back like 18 months ago. This guy has been an absolute fucking clown show to witness in real time. And well, it turns out that all of that shit was absolutely meaningless, and he eventually came around with his tail tucked between his pitiful little fucking legs to come and sign the 10-year deal with Microsoft that was offered to him from the very fucking beginning. Only the terms were not as favorable as initially. Now, personally, if I was in Jim Ryan's place, because I'm much more of a tactical person, I guess you could say, but what I would have done is come to Microsoft and said, hey, we're going to help you get this deal pushed through the courts, through the regulators. We want this shit to go through, but in exchange for us helping you, we want favorable terms in terms of Call of Duty being released on our platform. Like, we want X amount of revenue cut. We want to ensure feature parity. We want to have the ability to maybe market the game as well as you guys on our platform, even if Xbox is marketing it on theirs. Like, they could have made the deal a lot more favorable if they would have come to the table and maybe helped Microsoft push this through. But instead, I think Jim Ryan made a massive tactical mistake and just completely chose to shit his pants out in public, and it completely fucking backfired, because now he's back to square one where this shit originally started with absolutely nothing to show for it. And I would not be surprised if he somehow gets fired over this, because I think Sony, if I was in charge, I would not be fucking happy with his fumbling of this entire situation, where he genuinely had a chance to maybe work out an extremely favorable deal for the PlayStation platform moving forward with their relationship with Activision under Microsoft. And I think he completely ruined any chance of that happening. So again, man, people are just consistently taking L after fucking L after L in this situation. And I think after Lena Khan, I think Jim Ryan is the clear runner-up in all of this, because this guy absolutely embarrassed himself and embarrassed the company he represented publicly time after time in an attempt to desperately block this deal, only for it to eventually be approved, and him having to sign the deal that Microsoft originally offered him, only with worse terms. Now, of course, man, with anything related to the console industry, you have your wonderful group of console fanboys who love to play armchair analysts, who provide just some of the hottest takes imaginable on this situation. And, dude, I don't really think it gets any better than this.
Get it, take it, Microsoft, and watch them crumble, because guess what? I think it's going to make Sony and Nintendo even stronger, because if Microsoft's going to be this Pac-Man scooping up all the has-beens and all this other shit to power their cloud, nobody's coming there for old-ass content. And also, what this does, this hurts any kind of innovation at Microsoft, because if you're just buying something that's already pumping out milk, are you going to come up with new ideas? You're just going to let the cow pump the milk and just let it make money and let it do what it does. And guess what you do? You sit back and collect the check. You don't innovate. You don't do shit. You just sit there and make server blades and do that.
If Microsoft fails at this acquisition, that's why I did the title the way I did it. Because Xbox gamers are fucked and they don't know it yet. Either way. And then Call of Duty, you're talking about consolidation of the industry, because it triggers all that. Because not only if this is passed or not, if it is passed, then it's going to trigger, like you said, everybody's going to do this acquisition war. Everything's going to get gobbled up. Creativity on the smaller scale is going to be limited. And then all that is dominoed down. Plus, Microsoft is the big, monopolistic situation when it comes to a subscription service.
That's right, man. Xbox gamers are fucked and they don't even know it because somehow Activision and Blizzard games being in Game Pass is, really gonna fuck them in the ass, bro. Like, in all honesty, I can't really think of a worse scenario to be in when it comes to being an Xbox gamer. I sure do hate getting more value for my money, but of course, man, the takes on this entire situation are all over the fucking place, and you can probably spend hours looking at the various channels out there. Now, one I would like to highlight is, of course, my personal favorite content creator across this wonderful website known as youtube.com, and that is Dreamcast Guy. Dreamcast Guy is definitely known for being able to
keep that same energy.
I gotta be honest, I feel bad for a lot of those Xbox dudes. There are a lot of people out there who really were wanting this win. I'll be honest, I saw a lot of tweets, and I've shown them in videos of people who wanted Call of Duty to become exclusive. They wanted Call of Duty to get taken from PlayStation as fast as possible, and now that's just never gonna happen. Man, just for fun, let's click the Activision Blizzard hashtag. Let's see what people are freaking out about. Activision Blizzard stock is absolutely plummeting, technically in pre-market. Oh man, look at that. It's everybody's just talking about the fact that this deal is just being blocked. UK government dealt a huge blow to Xbox Activision Blizzard deal. Man, it's donezo. It's absolutely donezo. Gosh. Well, that's it, folks. That's it. Thanks so much for watching. Good morning, good evening, or good night. You guys rock. Be sure to like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. And please, keep dreaming. Oh my God. Oh man, I literally got out of bed just a minute ago. Oh my God, I'm tired.
A few moments later.
Xbox just won a freaking massive victory. They have now been officially approved to buy Activision Blizzard for $70 billion. Now, this entire thing has been a long, messy court case that I've been following very close because we've never really had any sort of situation like this where a console person, the fact that a company that makes so many games, that has Game Pass, that has their own definite focus in the industry, nobody has ever tried to buy something as big as Call of Duty, and now they've successfully done it. So I want to talk about this court case because it's officially wrapping up, and I'm still shocked by it. Let's dig into the nitty-gritty. Overall, I'm still just impressed that this went through. Like, the amount of legal effort, as a gamer, it's weird to think of a $70 billion acquisition like this going through. It's definitely changing the nature of how video game companies think. I mean, the fact that literally anything can have a price tag on it. But as a random fan, as a person that's just a YouTuber that likes to talk about gaming news, it's been interesting to watch this dumpster fire rage. This stupid t-shirt that I bought is fucking part of this.
And I think this really just highlights the entire sentiment that people that really know the least always end up saying the most dumb shit, bro, because it really just is a very complex issue that most people on YouTube who make gaming news content, go figure, are not really equipped to analyze, myself included, man. Like, I've never claimed to be a fucking expert on M&A. Like, eventually I would love to work in that industry, but that's beside the point, man. I am definitely no expert on this shit. I feel like at least when I've covered it, I've come from the perspective of, hey man, I don't have any fucking idea which way this is gonna go, but this is what I think. And I think it's really interesting when you have a lot of channels like Dreamcast Guy, like a Saltiest Gaming, like an MBG, you name it, who know with 100% absolute certainty which way these types of things are gonna go, just because it touches a realm of the internet that they're somewhat familiar with, when in reality it's a massively complex, economic and political issue that touches more things than just the pitiful fucking excuse of the internet gaming community. But I don't know, man. I say all that to say this. I personally am very glad that this deal went through, not just from a financial perspective, but from the perspective as a gamer, dude, because Game Pass offers the greatest value in game. All right, I'll stop my Colt Eastwood fucking spiel, but honestly, man, I think this is overall a net positive. It seems like Microsoft has every intention to keep major Activision Blizzard games on PlayStation and all platforms for that matter, and in addition to that, bringing those titles to new platforms like the Nintendo Switch. And anytime more people get access to more video games, I think that's a net positive. Game Pass really is a great value, and I think Activision Blizzard titles being available in Game Pass is a fucking absolute win for the consumer, no matter how the fuck you want to look at it. And overall, dude, I think just the principle that a shareholder can vote to sell their company for a agreed upon price is the basic founding principle of capitalism, man. And I don't think any government, especially in a non-essential industry like fucking video games, which keep in mind are a luxury entertainment product, I don't think any government should have the authority to step in and say, oh no, Activision shareholders, you bought the stock for this amount of money and you want to sell it for this price? Well, too fucking bad, we're not letting you take a profit. Because that's essentially what the FTC and the CMA are basically, you know, trying to do to people who are shareholders of Activision Blizzard. They want to actively prevent you from making money on your investment in Activision Blizzard as a company. And that is a precedent I will vehemently stand against regardless of what company it is. Now, in the case of like a critical industry like healthcare, telecom, internet, you name it, like something that actually fucking matters, okay? Not fucking video games, not fucking movies, not TV shows, like none of that shit's important, okay? Everybody can live without fucking TV shows, movies, music, and video games at the end of the day. It's not a life-changing product by any stretch of the imagination. And again, if you think video games are a life-changing thing, you probably don't have a fucking life to change anyway. So that, I think, is the key distinction here. This should have never gotten to the point that it did, but simply because of the $69 billion price tag attached to this deal, you have every regulator and their fucking mother thirsting for the opportunity to have their name in the local fucking news and get out there, because this is their time to fucking shine, and they're gonna take that opportunity to at least make this entire ordeal as painful as possible for Microsoft and Activision Blizzard in order to act like they actually have consumer interests in mind, when in reality, this deal is probably going to end up doing more good than bad for most consumers in the video game industry. But let me know your thoughts on this entire thing in the comment section below. Did you take my non-financial advice to buy Activision Blizzard shares when the stock plummeted over the sexual assault allegations? And are you cleaning up pretty nice as a result of Microsoft being able to go through with this purchase? Personally, I made over $5,000, so I'm a very, very happy gamer at the end of the day. But interested to hear y'all's take on what you think this means for the direction of the gaming industry as a whole, because I'm sure a lot of people are going to have a lot of very different ideas in this entire thing. But let me know in the comments section. As always, I do want to thank you all so much for taking the time out of your day to check out this video. And if you did agree with anything I had to say, or just enjoyed the video overall, make sure to smash that like button. I would greatly appreciate it, and I will catch you guys next time.